After getting pregnant, I, Valentina Jones, could hear the thoughts of the baby inside me. Just as I was happily preparing to share the good news of my pregnancy with my parents, Waylon Jones and Audrey Jones, the baby inside me suddenly cried out for help. She said, "Mom, don't call. Grandpa and Grandma value boys over girls. If they find out I'm a girl, they'll definitely give you abortion pills. I really want to live." I turned off my phone in confusion, afraid that news of my pregnancy might get out. But that night my house caught fire. I missed 99 distress calls from Waylon and Audrey. In the end, they could only helplessly perish in the flames. I was deeply heartbroken, and my husband, Theodore Carter, stayed by my side through those darkest days. Just as I was preparing to pull myself together, my daughter's voice from inside me came through again. She said, "Mom, you're so pitiful. Dad is secretly meeting his lover at the company. He's only being nice to you out of guilt." I instantly panicked, not knowing what to do. Without much thought, I rushed into Theodore's company, hoping to catch him cheating. But I ended up ruining a company contract worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Theodore was deeply disappointed in me and then brought out divorce papers, forcing me to sign them. I desperately tried to keep him, and then I heard my daughter's voice again. She said, "Dad hates women who keep pestering him. Mom, if you let go in time, Dad will come back begging for you after a while. Mom, don't be foolish. Leaving without taking any property during the divorce is the best choice." In the end, I listened to my daughter and chose to leave the marriage without taking any property. But when I became very poor and had to sleep on the streets, Theodore quickly married a girl who looked 70% like me. Moreover, at his wedding, every word he said blamed me for leaving so heartlessly back then. I cried as I went to find Theodore, but I was shattered by a red light running truck. As I was dying, I vaguely heard my daughter's laughter, but even until my death, I couldn't understand why my daughter wanted to harm me. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day I found out I was pregnant. The doctor happily patted my shoulder and said, "Ms. Jones, congratulations, your 38th IVF attempt has finally succeeded. Quickly call your family to share the good news." But I stood there frozen like a stone. I was reborn, back to the day I just found out I was pregnant. I reached out with trembling hands, covering my lower abdomen with my palm, cold sweat covering my forehead. Sure enough, just as I expected, the next second, I clearly heard the voice of the child in my belly. She said, "Mom, please don't call Grandpa and Grandma. They value boys over girls. If they find out I'm a girl, they'll definitely give you abortion pills. I really want to live." I held my phone tightly, not rushing to make a decision. In my previous life, it was on the day I found out I was pregnant that I heard the voice of the child in my belly. At that time, I just felt it was God's care for me and wholeheartedly believed every word my daughter said. I obediently turned off my phone, fearing that news of my pregnancy might leak and pose a threat to my daughter. But I never expected that night Waylon and Audrey's house would accidentally catch fire. As the two elders were near death, they placed their only hope for rescue on me. However, I missed the 99 calls for help they made. In the end, they could only painfully perish in the fire. Since then, I couldn't pull myself together and cried all day. It was Theodore who put aside his work and stayed with me day and night, helping me gradually recover. Just as I was ready to start over, I heard my daughter's inner voice again. She hinted to me that all of Theodore's kindness was just out of guilt for his affair, and that Theodore's lover was secretly meeting him at the company at that moment. I believed her words and almost went crazy, rushing into the company and having a huge fight with Theodore. However, I didn't catch the third party I expected. Instead, I accidentally ruined a billion-dollar contract of Theodore's. The company almost went bankrupt, and Theodore was utterly disappointed